Attenzione, Juventus just signed a right back. Yes, you heard me well. You are absolutely not dreaming. Juventus is about to put black on white the contract of a new right back. Before you starting dreaming about a four-man defense against Empoli, calma, I will give you all the details, but yes, I repeat, Juventus is about to sign a right back, as reported this morning by Fabrizio Romano. I went on the Instagram account of the player, and yes, indeed, he is traveling from Amsterdam, I think, towards Torino. Here we fly. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. Yes, you heard me well. Yes, I repeat, Juventus is about to sign finally a right back. Livano Comenencia. Who's that guy, you will tell me? Beppe, I never heard about him. Can we already start again seeing now a left back, a right back, a center back, that is Bremer, next to him Gatti, already against Empoli? Calma. No, not at the moment, especially if we are looking in the details about who Livano Comenencia is, because really fast you understand that it's a really young player from 19 years old that, yes, played as a right back. That's his main position, already tested in the past as a center back, a player that is, until this morning, officially a player from PSV Eindhoven in the Netherlands. It's a young player from 19 years old that will reinforce Juventus. If there is something that Juventus in recent years did fantastically well. Yes, we are speaking positively about things that Juventus did. Well, it is our youth academy, our youth sector, because Manna, Tognozzi, and now reinforced by Giuntoli are expert in these young unknown players, scouting them, offering them a fantastic, beautiful project, a journey, and then recruiting them, anticipating everyone in the world, even sometimes beating big clubs with a really well-known youth academy, like for example Barcelona, etc, etc. Yes, we did it again. A young player that until now there is nothing official, but if you are looking at where he's coming from, where he played until today, easily you can already think that it will be a player that will not immediately reinforce the first team, but will reinforce our next gen team. We are speaking about Livano Comenencia, 19 years old, PSV Eindhoven player that is traveling at the moment as we speak to Torino to do his medical test and then put black on white his contract, a contract where we will have to pay to PSV Eindhoven 3 million euros. So we are speaking about an investment, a young investment of 3 million euro, which you will tell me, Beppe, it's absolutely nothing. Today it's nothing. Then if it's a flop, it would be a lot of money. If it's a player that has a beautiful destiny, ragazzi, we are speaking about a really cheap price. From what I heard, because this morning before recording the video, I talked a bit with some people that I know from the Netherlands. They told me he's a really great player. We already saw these unknown players that are probably at the moment not exciting you a lot, but in a few years they can become super exciting. We are speaking about players, the Italian ones, for example, Miretti, Fagioli, but also an Ealing Jr., a Barrenechea, a Mattias Sule, and so on and so on. How many players, when we offer them that beautiful youth project, that beautiful path of the youth, next gen, and possibly first team, if maybe sometimes they have to go 1 year alone, but then coming back home to fight for a starting spot in the first team. When they hear about it, and also when they see the evidences that what we are saying is also the truth, well, they are accepting Juventus over other teams in the world. And this is something that is just fantastic. Now, what can we expect from Livano? Immediately, well, a reinforcement for the next gen. In the future, it will depend, of course, on him. It will depend how fast Juventus will do the transition between that three-man defense towards a four-man defense, but these are talks for the future. There are two players that I didn't mention from that next gen project. This year, in 23-24, they should have been part in the next gen team. Well, these guys already made a faster step. We are speaking about Huijsen and Yildiz, two players that we will deep dive in a second, because I have a fantastic news about these two players. Livano, welcome to Juventus. Officially yet? Attenzione, the only thing that I can tell you now, if you are looking at his Instagram profile, we can see that he's already traveling in the plane. So here we fly from Amsterdam, and normally, if I'm not wrong, if Fabrizio Romano is not wrong, if Romeo Agresti, or if they guys are not wrong, well, it's here we fly to Juventus, and we can expect him to Torino. Ragazzi, now going to the second part, and probably one of the most important things of today's news is that Tuttosport is going with saranno la Juve. They will be Juve. Who are they speaking about? About Huijsen, Dean, and about Yildiz, Kenan. Two players that are immediately fan favorites. Of course, fan favorites for another reason, because Juventus on the market has been really silent, really inactive, and we knew that it would happen. I already anticipate you that this kind of Mercato was in sight, especially if we didn't want to, or if we were not able to sell the players that are the big names, the one that could generate you a lot of money. We are speaking about the 3 stars, Chiesa, Vlahovic, Bremer, but also players like, for example, McKennie, Ealing Jr., and other names that are there in transition. Will they stay? Will they go? We can even add Kostic. By the way, we have some news in the end of the video about Kostic, so remain on the channel. Oh, I didn't even ask you, did you put a maximum of like? I know it's a bit late, it's already 6 minutes after the video, but if you didn't yet, put a maximum of like, continue to subscribe, because we continue with the beautiful news. Saranno la Juve, they will be Juventus. I want to correct this morning Tuttosport, because when he's saying, or when they are saying they will be Juventus, partially they're right, because they are speaking about renewal, they are speaking about increasing the amount of years that these players will be under contract with Juventus. So we can speak about they will be Juve, but actually today we can already speaking about they are Juve, because it's not a coincidence. Ragazzi, thank you for correcting me when I was saying casuality. No, it's coincidence. It is not a coincidence if these players received the number 13 and the number 15, real first team numbers. And the difference with what was planned is it will not be next gen players that will reinforce the first team, but first team players that from time to time, if they have less playing time, they will reinforce the next gen. Yildiz, the great news. Again, I'm not confirming anything. Before it's black on white, I can't tell you anything, but Yildiz is renewing until 2027, which was a priority for Juventus for a simple reason. It's a kid that, since he's really a kid, has an immense lot of talent. He's already followed by a lot of media houses. He's already part of a media house. Do you remember the video that they made when they announced Yildiz to Juventus? It's a player that, if he has a contract until 2025, with all the teams that are on the Turkish-German player, could have left, and Juventus could not have done a lot of profit on the player. Extending his contract, also increasing the salary of the young player after telling them and showing them with facts that yes, we believe in him, well, can be a fantastic way to keep him. The entourage of Yildiz is fantastically happy. The player as well is super happy. We have everything to start a beautiful romance with a player that already started 2 games in Serie A at the super young age of 18 years old. 2 games in a row. Will he have more minutes in the game of Empoli? That's something that we will discover on Sunday. We can't wait for this guy to celebrate probably a contract extension with a goal. Why not? Kenan Yildiz will stay until 2027. Just regato Max. He already did the magic on Max. Why? Because in training session in LA, in San Francisco, wherever you want in the world, he was already showing his capabilities. He was already convincing Max that this guy can do something well. And again, it's not a coincidence if Max Allegri, when he's speaking about the strikers, Vlahovic, Chiesa, is always adding, we also have Huijsen, we also have Milik, but attenzione, because we also have Kenan Yildiz, that is a beautiful player, that is a strong player, that is a mature player for his age, always speaking really well about the young 18 years old player. Is it only what we are doing? Because people said, Pepe, we are doing absolutely nothing, it's a dead Mercato. Juventus is already thinking about the future. After that young guy, Livano Comenencia, after Kenan Yildiz, that should put black on white his signature, we're already talking about other things like Federico Gatti, that didn't start yet at the moment. We already spoke about why, but it's a player that is really taken into consideration by Juventus, that should also extend for 1 more year with Juve. Gatti, that is not 18 years anymore, but it's still a young, fresh player in Serie A that did quite well already last year. Well, Juventus is still believing in Federico Gatti. The other player that you will be happy about, because we are speaking about another renewal, another 18 years old boy, it is Dean Huijsen. And here you will tell me, Beppe, he already extended his contract until 2027, like in June. Or we are in August and we are already thinking about renewing the guy after 2 months. What is happening? Well, Juventus is extremely believing in Dean Huijsen. We already spoke about it with Romeo Agresti. By the way, tomorrow, 11 p.m. here on the channel, live with Romeo. We already spoke about Dean. Well, Juve already extending his contract and increased his salary to become a next-gen player. But probably they didn't expect that fantastic growth and him being able to not become an extra addition for the first team when needed, but becoming one of the 6 center defender, one that probably in 5-10 games will have a lot more minutes than the one that he had until now, 0. So Dean Huijsen, probably to not make a big difference with the new contract of Kenan Yildiz, they want to increase his salary so that he's really considered a first team player. Oh ragazzi, if we are speaking about Federico Gatti, a fan favorite, the 2 young stars that will receive big contracts 2028, 2027 with higher salary, not extremely high, but still higher to be considered real first team players, we are speaking about beautiful things, especially if we are looking at the bromance between Yildiz and Dean Huijsen. Dean Huijsen, that for the very first time when Kenan Yildiz was about to enter against Udinese, he jumped off the bench just to give him a hug, to wish him good luck. Beautiful moments for the 2 players that were there in Hollywood, taking selfies and having good time together. We are also continuing to speaking about youth players with Caio Jorge, that yesterday has been official to Frosinone. This morning there was the press conference of the Brazilian young player that said, when I had that injury, when I tried to recuperate, I was thinking even to stop. I had negative thoughts because I was absolutely not feeling well. So Caio Jorge, Sule and Barrenechea, I'm happy to see them all together at Frosinone, a team that I will follow. Why? Because if these players are doing really well with Frosinone, these players will increase even more their minutes, their experience, but also the value. Of course, Juventus will not be able to keep everyone forever at Juventus, but at least doing a beautiful performances there, they can show to the world that they are really valid, great players. If now we go to other reasons why Juventus is investing that much into the youth, Gazzetta dello Sport is partially answering our question. Juve più giovane e al risparmio. A younger Juventus, but also a Juventus that is cost conscious, that is saving on everything. If last year we had actually our oldest players, that was Bonucci with 36 years old, and our youngest was Yildiz, and our youngest was Ealing Jr. The one that was paid the most was Paul Pogba with 8 million euro net. The less expensive was Barrenechea with 0.15. We had a total amount of salary of 95 million euro. A lot with all the problems that we had last year in terms of salary, in terms of finances. If you are looking already what we did now, we see that the salaries in total are at 83.5, so a big saving there of 12 million euro salaries net in the pockets of Juventus. Then we are looking at Vlahovic increased his salary because we know he had a contract that is increasing year per year. Then you see that the cheapest one is now Hans Nicolosi with 0.21. The youngest one becomes Kenan Yildiz. The oldest one is our friend Szczesny. By the way, it's not over with the renewal because we are already starting to speak about renewal possibilities for Rugani and for Szczesny. 2 players that can extend, lowering even more their salaries. And that's where the big job of Giuntoli is working, because Giuntoli, we knew it, the first mission of Giuntoli was not to go and sign 120 players, but it was to make from that XXL team, huge 45 players, to shrink it, to have a normal team for one competition only, but also to save. Do you remember the 140 million that we were targeting? Well, there is already a big saving of 70 million euro. That is absolutely a great job. We couldn't do more at the moment, but we can even increase that number if we will look later about what can happen today, tomorrow, and on Friday with the last names that are in the market. Now, are we obliged to do it? Yes, we are. First of all, because we did mistakes in the past and we have to pay attention for it. also because we were penalized and the money that we should have received went to Milan because they took away from us a Champions League spot. And also because if you're looking at the states of Serie A, we have already the numbers of the first 2 match days of Serie A from how many people were watching the games. Well, we see that we have a big problem because last game, so match day 2, in total, all the games, not only the one of Juve, didn't have a lot of beautiful numbers, decreased a lot. The game that was watched the most was Juventus against Bologna with 900,000 viewers on television, while the game that was watched the less was Empoli against Monza with 32,000 people. That's absolutely not a lot. There is a huge problem in viewing, and that's why I'm telling you, why is Serie A starting after everyone? Why in Serie A don't you start with big games, you know, like in England, like in Ligue 1, like everywhere in the world, starting also with big games to attract immediately your viewership so that they are starting to watch from the first day and they increase the interest. Then if it's Juve, it's Juve. If it's another team, it's another team, whatever. But if you want to really do better with Serie A, you have to invest, you have to change your mentalities. You can't just say, but in Italy everyone is on a holiday on the 15th of August. You can't, because you have adapted. If you want to go international, you have to adapt yourself to the international viewership and not only the one in Italy. But again, that's why I'm telling you, if you have lower and lower views on television, well, the contracts with the television that you will have to sign and renegotiate, the people will give you less and less money. Less money from the club, less money for the players, less money to invest. Now, Corriere dello Sport is speaking about the king Lukaku, because now we have to continue speaking about Mercato. King Lukaku, that will not be a Juve player. Yesterday he landed in Roma with a crazy population of Roma that went totally crazy. They are not speaking that much about Juve. They are speaking about Pavard, that today will do the medicals for Inter. So we see a lot of reinforcements for the other teams, and we are working with our youngsters. Another player that will not be a Juve player, and if I'm not sad for Lukaku, I am really sad for Mikautadze. Mikautadze, that you know, with the people that are following the channel, was here in my heart, maybe not ready to be a starter of Juve, but he signed for until 2028 with Ajax Amsterdam, a player that I can guarantee you that if not next year, in 2 years will be sold for 80 or maybe 100 million euros, so pay attention. So what is Juventus working on for the last days on Mercato? Who are the question marks? We know it, Bonucci, that wants to stay in Italy. There are some clubs on him, Lazio, Roma, Genoa, with Union Berlin still waiting. The thing that is sure is he will not reintegrate the first team. And then you have a Huijsen that could still leave Juventus if an offer arrives, with already Alvaro Morata waiting. He has in one hand his luggage ready to come back to Torino, of course, only because he has a release clause of 20 million euro, only if Huijsen is leaving for money. Otherwise, we stay as we are. And then the big question mark about Kostic. Kostic, that a lot of teams are asking information about. The last one that asked information is Roma. Roma about to possibly sell Spinazzola to Manchester United. If they do, if they seal that deal, they could go for Kostic. We are too much on the left, we are not enough on the right, so that can be a possibility. Kostic cashing in for at least 50 million euro, otherwise we will not do it. Has Roma the money? Today, no. With Spinazzola sold, probably yes. And then Piazza, that I'm extremely sad for the career that he had, because we were all expecting something else. That injury, that huge injury, came to change the plans. Well, Piazza is about to go back to Croatia. Today, a fantastic day if you are born on the 30th of August, so happy birthday to you, because today we had like 4 ex-Juve players that are celebrating. Pavel Nedved, ex-legend of Juventus on the field, but also a fantastic vice president of Juventus. Happy birthday to Pavel. Then another one, the one that scored that final penalty for the Champions League in 1996. We are speaking about Jugovic. Another one that played that game of Champions League against Ajax is Sousa, that is now a coach. And then you have Simone Pepe, especially known by the a bit more younger people that were not able to watch Juventus winning that Champions League. So happy birthday to all of them. Ragazzi, if you are born today, yesterday, tomorrow, happy birthday to you as well. Don't forget, maximum of like if you loved that 20-minute video with a lot of news. What are you thinking about that huge project, about Juventus extending possibly all these young future stars? Let me know in the comment. Grazie, forza, Juve.